Welcome to More Than Mindset, the only podcast that bridges the gap between spirituality and success. Go beyond the mind with clarity and confidence coach Kim Guillory and learn how to integrate your passion to serve with your skills and experience to create a business you love. Let's get started.
Hey guys, welcome. We are talking about Self-Healing Masters. My name is Kim Guillory. I'm an integrative mind-body coach. Ashley is one of my clients. We actually met on Clubhouse. We were just talking about this. And we're here today to talk about Ashley's experience in Self-Healing Masters and also what belief work has done for her, the work that we do in Self-Healing Masters, because we have a belief boot camp virtual retreat experience coming up soon. And if you happen to miss this one and you're catching it like 2 weeks later, then we'll have another one coming up. So there'll be a link below for you to register for that. So welcome, Ashley. Would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. So I am an integrative coach that helps people move through their limiting beliefs and work through any repressed emotions, keeping them from stepping into that next level version that they're wanting to be. I am still currently an RN. So at some point, I do want to open up a holistic integrative practice that really works fully with mind, body, and spirit, incorporating blood work, really diving deep into detox pathways and other aspects, while also working through certain emotions and mindset work. And of course, if people are into it, bringing in the spiritual aspect. So I think all four really help a person to step into their full potential. And that's what I'm passionate about.
What are the limitations that you've come across in the medical community, just from the RN perspective, before you moved into the holistic stuff? Like what attracted you to this?
Well, my journey just started from eating healthier, becoming more conscious of what I put in my body, learning about the different toxins that we're surrounded by, and how, obviously keeping our vessel clean, it's like you can do all the mindset and the work, but if your body's failing you and you're in pain, have a chronic condition and autoimmune, it's hard to keep a positive mindset. And as we know, especially with epigenetics, our environment, our mood, our food, everything is turning on and off genes in a positive or a negative way. So really not only having that root cause approach, but I've always believed in sovereignty and us having more power within ourselves to heal in many ways. And that just kind of opened the door to understanding more about then how our mindset and emotions affect our body. But it's all been from a health perspective. And when my dad went through cancer, I went down the rabbit hole. I mean, there was nothing I wasn't going to try. And learning about Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dr. Bruce Lipton, the fact that we have this ability, it's so empowering to know that we have such an ability to change and heal. Our body is so intelligent when we feed it the right things, that whether that's food, emotions, thoughts. That's really what's broke me open into this world.
Yeah. So the conversation that we were having on Clubhouse that night was about the unconscious work, rewriting our lives through changing our inner dialogue and really recognizing generational patterning, societal conditioning. The way that we actually became who we are today is by the world that shaped us. And I think that's the conversation we're having. And whenever you reached out and you were like, okay, I need to get into this. I need to know more. Wait, you're speaking my language. Yes. What was it that attracted you to the work that we're doing in Self-Healing Masters?
It was that you had that full approach of mind, body, spirit. You weren't just teaching law of attraction. Oh, just have positive thoughts and believe this. And, you don't have what you want because your thoughts aren't, in line right yet. And all the things. It's there's more to that. There's more to that. There's our nervous system that doesn't feel safe to believe or attract those things. And our body is our unconscious mind. And so if we're holding these limiting beliefs, if we're holding these generational patterns and conditionings that, we're all programmed at such a young age with, until we go and take a look at those and pluck them out and replace them with what we do want and understand that it's a process, that it's not just a one time, being a hypnotist, I learned that or NLP, right. You can't just do it with that. You need more than just that. Yes, it may help you, but you've got to bring all things on board. And you were one of the only ones that I was seeing that was truly doing that to the level that you are who I want to be when I grow up. So
let's speak of that too, is like, because I've introduced you to human design. So we discovered we're both 6'2s. You're a projector. I'm a generator. I'm emotional authority. I think you're emotional authority also.
Yeah.
Like, how has that impacted you different? Like, what has just knowing a little bit more about human design brought in for this holistic research for self-discovery?
Yeah. So for me, I had started kind of getting into human design before we met. And that was the thing. You were incorporating EFT, which I'm an EFT practitioner. You were talking about human design, which I was just really diving into because I learned being a projector. I mean, it opened up my eyes to so much of how I operated in the world, and understanding your own unique energy, signature. It's key and learning how to follow that. Like, you've taught me more about that and more about being a 6'2" and why my life was, the span that it was. So I just love that you have a woo. You also have a scientific. You're also deeply, connected spiritually. Like, you had all the things that I was just finding bits and pieces here and there. And you just seem to embody all of it and teach other people how to step in that way in their life and also integrate and embody those.
Yeah.
Day to day.
Whenever I think it's because the understanding of the unconscious world is where the power is. But what you just said earlier about like doing a hypnotherapy session or a regression session, or even doing tapping, or like the thing that brings the awareness is the tool to the understanding, and what we can understand, we can change. And so it doesn't really matter if someone's using emotion code or tapping or Reiki or plant medicine or whatever the thing is that's getting them to see something that is beyond the mind, because the mind is so busy. We believe that bitch. Like, we think that the mind is telling us truth, but it's not. It's just like the brain farting. Like, it's just thoughts. It's just like little bubble thoughts. And we actually get to choose which of those we want to create more of, and which of those are just mindless thoughts. But there's nobody really talking about that, right? Like the way that it affects us, the samskaras that are created in the body, the triggers that are constantly being poked at us, like poking the bear. And I remember, like with Louise Hay, it was like, change your thoughts, just change your thoughts, and all these positive affirmations. Or even with RTT, it was the same thing with the thoughts and the thoughts. And I was like, there's more than these thoughts. It's like there's an actual nervous system response to the habits and behavior.
Yeah. And until we can befriend it and learn how to work with it and learn how to calm it and come into a place of safety and security first with ourselves and our nervous system and that connection, then we can have those thoughts. But we have to acknowledge what's there first and be able to work through them. And I love how you're able to just grab a hold of our stories and the ego mind and where it wants to go. And you can separate that out and be like, no, get that out of the way. We're not letting you go down that. Nope. That's not what the issue is underlying. And so you allow us to sit with those emotions, and you bring this container of safety to allow it to come up and allow us to feel it and be with it and learn that it's okay. It's just, we're not taught this as kids, adults, even. Like, we don't know how to deal with our emotions. We don't know what these uncomfortable sensations are in our bodies. And that's typically what we're running away from all the time. And so until you sit with whatever it is that's linked to it, because this, like it's a little child. Most of the time, those thoughts, those beliefs, they're going to sound like a 5-year-old. And as an adult, we refuse to accept that could be a part of ourselves. But it's that inner child within us that just hasn't been seen, hasn't been acknowledged, hasn't been felt. And until we do that and acknowledge that we just need to integrate that part of us, then we can have self-agency and be able to change on a deeper level.
We're just 4-year-old toddlers. Like, seriously, that's it. It's that part that hasn't been seen in her, didn't get what he or she needed. And that aspect is alive and well. I often talk about it like the kitty cat litter, like there's 6 kitty cats, it's like there's this whole litter that would be you as a whole being. And then 5 of the kitty cats are outside of the house. And then there's the one, that little scared one, that little that's just like kind of holding back. And we want to get out there and go do the next big thing. And there's this aspect holding us back, hiding underneath the house, right? It's like just so timid. And what do? We try to bully it. We try to push it aside, shut it up. You shouldn't act that way. Deny it. Like, all of that toughness. And really what it takes is this clean compassion and understanding, and just allow that safe feeling to be felt so that she can come purring forward. Right. But instead, what's happening? The same thing with all of the vaccines and all of this stuff right now. It's like everyone's feeling on attack. So of course, we're going to build this militant wall within ourselves. Our brain is going to do that to protect us.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's often how we were brought up and how our parents were brought up, and just how society looks at those parts of ourselves that just need love instead of more repression and pushing away and saying, nope, you're not allowed to feel that. You can't feel that.
I heard this on Shark Tank the other day.
Oh, really?
Yes. And so the guy was like really passionate, and what is it? Kevin, the money guy, was telling him that his business was a piece of shit. Like it was nothing. And he just starts like crying. He's like, you're going to stand here and cry. What are you crying about? What do you like? And I was like, that's it. That's the thing.
That's bullying. Yeah.
This guy was like in his passion and purpose and and in the whole, like his business meant something to him. And it was like, he was being ridiculed for being passionate and crying about it. And I was like, this is like 4-year-olds right here.
Yeah. Yeah. We see it so often.
Such a big deal. And so those feelings don't just die away.
Yeah.
Our body holds them for a time when we will be able to process.
Yeah.
But we have to understand. I do see now that we can trust the body to hold it until we're ready. Joe Dispenza says this: you don't have to wait for the crises, but yet we do. Mm-hmm. We wait for the diagnosis. We wait for the things to fall apart. We wait for our bank account to be as close to negative as possible before we have the courage and the nerve to get out there and do the thing, right? Those are all crises.
Yeah. A lot of times it's like we need to be kicked off the cliff to make the leap. And because either it's because, we don't see the vision big enough, it's just not clear, or it doesn't seem as attainable enough. And so we'd rather just stay in our comfort zone, because it's that ego mind again, just saying, oh, it's much more safe here. We're comfortable here.
Bored. It's so exactly boring and unsatisfying. And that to me is success, is to feel satisfaction and connection, to be able to contribute and be creative. Like, I think that is success. And we don't get that sitting there waiting, like sitting in the old story, allowing it to spin and loop, waiting for the crisis that we think is going to give us the courage. We could just rewrite the dialogue, change the inner beliefs, change the belief system, and then create the vision of what we want, imprint it, step into it, cultivate it, move forward from there.
And see, here's the thing, Kim, you have had a taste of what it's like to be a conscious creator. You've done the work, you've been through the shit and been onto the other side. Whereas a lot of people, they haven't. So they don't know the possibility. They don't know that exists. They don't know how to become that conscious creator. And that's why Self-Healing Masters and the boot camp that you're offering is so incredible, because you can take people through it to show them, they can see what is possible. And if we don't have that vision, if we don't have that clarity, of course, we're going to stay in our nice, cozy little den, even if it's boring and not, fully living, it's at least safe. So,
and the mind can't imagine it. Let's be 100% honest. The mind can't attain what it can't imagine. And so if you've always been in that limiting belief or limited mindset, and it wasn't possible for you, even as a little girl, even as a little princess, even like if you were never able to imagine, you cannot attain it. Even if you were to attain it, you would destroy it.
Yeah. Self-sabotage it. Yeah.
You would not be able to hold on it because you wouldn't be worthy enough to receive it. And it wouldn't, like the belief wouldn't be there. So it's like you need the belief to be like the glue. So I love that you're saying that, because do you think that is something that we actually process and move through in Self-Healing Masters?
Absolutely. You don't let us get past with these ego stories and what most people don't catch as, they sound like reasonable justifications, and people are like, oh yeah, I get that. Okay. Yeah, you're right for feeling that. And it's like, let's go deeper. Oh, wait. Nope. Let's feel these different things that's coming up for you and look at how we can do it ourselves. You don't need that other person. We just want to say that it's that other person, or we need them to be a certain way for us to be okay. And it's like, no, we can learn to be okay without the external. And that to me is beyond powerful. And just, I mean, how empowering is that to be able to know that you can heal on your own?
Yeah, it was kind of coincidental that I realized that I had the ability to bring that portal down for people to have the different experience. That must be one of these, whenever they say like the 6-2, someone else will call out what your brilliance is, that you'll never know what it is. That must be the thing, because I did not know I had the ability to do that. That's just where I lived. So as I would like share what I was going through or experience, and I'm like open head, open ajna, open throat, open root, right? So I can channel like a mother as I was experiencing that. And then I started getting messages back from clients, and they were just like, oh my God, my heart, like it's physically hurts in my chest. You cracked my chest open. Like what's happening here? What's happening to me? And they started getting different, physical symptoms. It was materializing in their body. And I was like, holy smoke, this is powerful.
Because they've never had someone to hold that space in that container for them to go that deep. And it's like, whoa, okay, there's the root. Oh, that's where my block stuckness is coming from. Yeah. It's powerful.
So it was kind of actually, it started with like 6 people. And then I decided doing a retreat was like 12, 15. And then one day it was 30. And I was like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that other people couldn't imagine this. Like I really didn't know that. But when we turn off our emotions, we think we're just turning off the sad, mad, disappointing emotions. But the real news is, the truth, big T, is that you can't turn off just some of them. You turn off all of them.
Yes.
And so that inability to feel is the flaw of attraction. When you cannot, so you think about beliefs this way. It's like you think it's possible, right? That's using your head. Think, my mind thinks. And then there's, I feel like this could be possible, right? I feel excited. I feel encouraged. I feel the possibility, right? And then there's a whole nother level, and it's viscerally. It's when you're feeling it through the organs, through the cell, through the bone marrow, all the way through, so much so that you've actually become that new identity. And then you just practice that. The importance of the 28 to 90 days is practice being that. That's what sets the long-term change. Why do you think other coaches and gurus and people aren't talking about this? Is it that they haven't figured out how to explain it, that they don't think it's important, that it comes natural for them, or are they just selling the results?
I think it's a mixture of all that. I think selling the results, they got there. They don't know how they got there, but they did it, and they think they can just tell everyone follow this plan, but it's not necessarily right for them. But also maybe they just haven't done it themselves. They haven't seen the experiential effects of going through it themselves. And so they can't teach what they haven't been through themselves. But I do find it so interesting that it seems so obvious to me. Even when I didn't know about it, I knew there was more, if that makes sense. And which is why it kept me from just starting with working as an NLP practitioner and just doing hypnosis. I mean, even with Reiki, I knew there was energy. There was something in the body that keeps us, but I didn't have the full picture. And it's been, me deep diving into anything and everything I can get my hands on to learn and understand it more. And that's why when I found you, I was like, this right here, this is what I've been searching for. Understanding the nervous system, how it affects our mind, the physical aspects of it, and how they both play on each other, and the effects that emotions have on such a deep level. And not only when we're in emotional state, we can't think from a prefrontal cortex. Mm-mm. It blocks it, because every thought that comes through, it goes through our amygdala first before it hits the prefrontal. So when we're in emotional state, we can't think rationally, and it sets our nervous system off, which is our entire body, our system, to feel safe and secure. So it's like, without having the knowledge of the power that our emotions have, mindset is just empty. And if we don't have our body on board, feeling safe and secure to join those thoughts and be able to transmute those old beliefs, it's not sustainable, long-lasting change for people.
Mm-hmm. It's just a part of the equation. Then the disappointment from never actually getting to the other side, right? It's like it's like going up that hill, and you're just always in that spin of going up, going up, going up, going up, going up, going up. And it never glides.
Never actually ascending.
Failure to launch kind of thing. I love that you just said this, because that kind of does feel right. So their belief, for some people, maybe their belief in the affirmation was so strong because they didn't have the limited beliefs or the unresolved traumas or the dialogue, whatever the story was that they have been taught. So they just went right into it and soared, because I do believe it could go either way. I will say that. It was like, if you are strong-minded and strong-willed enough, you can jump right into the positive affirmation and move forward. But if you have locked up, pent up, unresolved trauma, unfelt perception in the body, it's not going to happen that way, because the nervous system has already acclimated to that and is keeping you safe and protected until you're ready to explore, to open potential and possibility of processing and integrating.
As you say, it makes so much sense too, because in my life, because I grew up, although, my parents had their own conditioning and different things that they passed on, like I grew up they were in Amway. So there was very much the law of attraction, and like, you can believe, if you believe it, you dream it, you can do it, all these things. So a lot of my life I was manifesting without, because obviously all of us are manifesting without realizing or not, whether it's good or bad, but I was manifesting for good for a lot of my life. And when I went through a really hard breakup, I struggled with an eating disorder, I lost my dad, like those traumas then started building, and my nervous system wasn't online enough to be able to, because I was like, well, why can't things used to just come easy for me. And I used to just, if I wanted it, I could have it. And like all these things. And I didn't understand what had happened with me. I'm broken, like something's wrong with me. And it just, led me down a path of like, then I just kept believing that. And then it was harder for me to manifest. But once I had the knowledge of, oh, well, I need to feel my emotions. I need to process them. I need to,
the story, the podcast that I did last week or week before last with the 9-year-old, I don't know if you heard it yet, but I was talking about, like, I moved myself through that. I was frozen as like this 9-year-old standing against a tree. I had just heard that my mom had died. And I was like, didn't know how to respond or react. I was frozen. And when I went back and processed this a couple of weeks ago while I was in Vegas, like, that's what she did. Like when she came to me and had her chest like at my belly, and I was just like, she was like, like that was actually happening in my physical body.
Wow, that's powerful.
And it was that grief that is in the lungs that wasn't being processed. It was unfelt perception. And it had not been experienced because I didn't know how, I didn't have context. I didn't have understanding. I didn't know what death was. I didn't know, am I supposed to be behaving a certain way? What's supposed to be happening here? What's going on? Like I really was frozen in that time, like an 8-year-old body that her thoughts were, I don't know what to do. This is awkward. What am I supposed to do? I don't understand. No one was telling me anything. And I took that into my adulthood and have put out hundreds of thousands of dollars for coaches to tell me what to do as if I don't know what to do, because I was frozen in time. And when I was able to fully experience it and integrate it, and then she was able to grieve, all of a sudden she went from like, she's not coming back. Like, and she's cried. She was like, she's not coming back. I'm like, this was 50 years ago, like 40 something years ago, actually. But like, I really didn't know that aspect, that kitty cat, that part of me really didn't know. Like people wait for the crisis. I'm going to wait for the diagnosis. Then I'm going to make the change. I'm going to wait for the scale to go over 200 pounds. I'm going to wait for my jeans not to fit anymore. I'm going to wait until he, whatever, does the last thing for the last time. Like that's what we do, because there's aspects of us that we don't recognize that have these unfelt experiences, these unfelt perceptions. And so once I was able to see it, then she was like, I mean, I'm serious. It was like I was at Disney World. All of a sudden it was like, oh, well, then if she's dead, then she's available. She's everywhere because she wasn't available before. I was like, whoa.
Yes. Wow. See, and that's a healthy way to look at you can have that perspective now. Whereas
we're so ashamed to be an 8-year-old, right? We're so ashamed to go into our grief. We're like, that doesn't make sense. I'm a grown ass woman. I shouldn't be thinking that way. I know better. Like, I've had kids of my own. I understand death. That's what we do instead.
Yeah.
But that lacks the empathy and compassion and grace. But I was able to just stand with her and hold and just let her just weep, through the mind.
Yeah.
Through the mind.
It's time and space doesn't exist. Yeah.
And the body will hold it until you're ready.
Yeah. That's so beautiful. I love inner child work. It's one of my favorites. That's been biggest part of my healing is being able to hold and soothe those aspects of me. Yeah.
Because I brought her into my world. She was still standing at that tree in Dural, which is out here in the outskirts, out here in the woods, but she was still standing against that tree. And I had a couple of experiences here where the weather was the same. And yesterday, that weather, or day before yesterday, the weather came through. She wasn't at the tree. Like I had to go there, but she's not there anymore. I was like, this is the fascinating part of, and some people who are maybe too science minded or too action lined or too mental, they'll never be able to get this. And it's not my job to convince them. All I know is that I received the healing, I received the liberation, and everything has changed. And I don't even know if y'all noticed the difference since I'm back from Vegas, but everything has changed.
That's so beautiful. Because I mean, we can only move as far forward without the parts behind us. Like we have to address the parts behind us that are holding us back, like the scared kitty that needs some bracing and some love and some, come on, let's go. We got you now. That's the parts of us that keep us and hold us back. So,
and the beauty of that particular vision with the kitty cat is that she's looking out at the litter the whole time, wanting to be with everyone else.
Yes.
So the desire was there, but the safety wasn't. And that's like what happens with the nervous system. So when someone wants to do the thing, but then they're not able to achieve the success, they're not able to achieve the results that they attain, they're not able to receive the love or even the clients or the money. It's that same concept.
Yeah. And it's that part that we just keep denying, like we should be over it. We should, we're good. We're,
cut those cords and burn that person and get them out of your life. And you don't need them. Yeah. That's all the emotional maturity that we get. Right.
Yeah.
All right. So well, is there anything else that you want to share about your experience in Self-Healing Masters or belief work, the unconscious work that we do? I just want to open the space for you.
I think the biggest thing that, we're learning more and more about, especially with everything happening in the world right now, is just the importance of community and having other people that are on that journey to heal the parts of themselves that they're embarrassed and too ashamed to address or look at or, admit to being an issue, and being amongst others who are, whether it looks exactly like you or not, like it's all similar situations that we've all been through that we're having to go back and reparent and love those parts of ourselves. Parts integration. It's so powerful. And so being able to be around others who can reflect back to us a healthy, loving acceptance and presence and know that we're not alone in it is so huge for the nervous system to feel safe. And so I'm incredibly grateful for you, Kim, and just the community that you've put together and all the other women that are in the group, because it's allowed me to process a lot.
Yeah. And one of the things that was really important to me is that everyone did not have to agree. I thought that was something that was not available. I'm in several communities, coaching communities, healing modalities, different things. And that's not so. You really have to watch what you say out loud and what you're even on vaccination or not, or whatever the whole COVID thing is, or whatever the next new political fight is. And that's something that has come because they'll send me private messages. I don't know if I can ask this in the community. I don't know if I can say this. I don't know who else is there and what they'll think about this question that I ask. And it's so important to me, which some people may leave because of that, but you can't make me choose. I can't. Like I've tried to be forced to already, with my own household or with clients. And I'm like, I've been accused several times about just writing that in between. And I'm like, I don't know. And I'm not afraid to say, I don't know. I don't have an opinion, and it's not my preference, and it's not who I sleep with at night, and it's not who I wake up to in the morning, and it's not my life. Why would I be the person that's trying to give advice? But I'm here to listen, and I can take you back to yourself. That I know I can.
That is so powerful that yes, I 100% agree. You believe in bioindividuality, and you believe in helping people find their center and their truth. And the fact that love unites us, and that's the most important. And whether that triggers someone of whatever someone's belief is, most people in the group, I feel, will realize, okay, well, this is my trigger. How can I work through this? We use whatever comes up for us to better ourselves. And it just brings more work for us to work through. And I think it's incredible.
The topics are the catalyst.
Yeah.
The triggers, the sensations that come up are the work. Yeah. And how can we fully receive the shadow, not be afraid of it, have it come and sit on our lap, and be a part of it so that we can explore those fears and we can explore ego and just all of the stuff that's been trying to protect ourselves that's actually stopping us from experiencing the thing that we really want to experience.
Yes.
All right. I'm looking at the time, so I think we're okay. Right. I've been committed to not, making these an hour long. I want to thank you for coming on. We will put your contact in the show notes. Ashley does transformational work. She uses hypnosis, breath work, embodiment, dance, EFT. So where are you based at?
Dallas, Texas.
Dallas, Texas. The last thing I want to share before we actually close this out is that we do have the Belief Bootcamp virtual retreat experience coming up. Ashley, what would you say for someone who was considering doing it? Why should they do it? Like, what has the belief work? How has it impacted you?
I think it's such a great introduction to see what it is that you offer on an experiential level. Like someone can actually see what it feels like to work through their own ego stories and get to the root of what their unconscious beliefs are, their main ones that are holding them back. And once they're able to do that they can start taking it to other areas of their life because, we all have many to work through that will last lifetimes. So it's like, once you're able to see it and experience it, to me, I think that's the greatest liberation is to be able to have the tools to work through whatever's holding you back in your life, whether it's relationships, your health, career, it can be applied to anything. So
that's a yes.
That's a hell yes.
Hell yes. I hope you guys come and join us. If you missed this round, catch the next one. I'm not promising that they're all going to be a 5-day virtual retreat. We might end up doing like a 3-hour workshop or presenting it in a different way for the month of August. It is going to be a 5-day virtual retreat where you'll be in a Facebook group. I'll be coming on live every day and you will have assignments and projects and you will be encouraged to share your experience with the group. So that's it. It's a great place to meet other people who are doing the conscious and unconscious work in order to improve and change their lives. All right, my friends, until next week. Thank you, Ashley.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of More Than Mindset.